There's a question older than religion itself. If there's a higher power, why does the world look the way it does? I'm not talking about little inconveniences like a bad day. I mean real suffering. The kind of evil that leaves scars so deep, entire generations carry the weight. And let's be honest, the case against the higher power is written in blood and tragedy. Children trafficked into slavery, vanishing into systems so well hidden the world barely even notices. Entire villages wiped out in civil wars funded by corporations who will profit from the rubble alone. Hospitals bombed, starvation weaponized, diseases unleashed in countries that can't even afford clean water, let alone medicine. And maybe the darkest part of it all, most of it never makes the news because pain without profit rarely gets airtime. If a higher power truly exists, why is there a mother somewhere watching her child starve to death? Why do serial abusers rise to positions of power while good men and women are buried in silence? Even nature itself feels merciless. Earthquakes crushing families in their sleep, hurricanes swallowing entire towns. Where's the divine mercy in that? For many, the silence of heaven feels louder than any prayer. The conclusion, we're alone. And believing in something greater than yourself is just a coping mechanism. We all sell ourselves because the truth is just so unbearable. And yet, in that same sea of horror, there are people who endure, people who shouldn't be standing but are. Take Holocaust survivors, for example. People who not only managed to survive, they managed to build families, build communities after seeing humanity at its absolute worst. Take families who lose everything in natural disasters, yet somehow find a way to smile at their child, letting them know that love is more resilient than destruction. Some people will tell you that their faith didn't erase their suffering, it simply carried them through it. And the reason they didn't put a gun in their mouth or let bitterness rot their soul was because they believed. For some people, faith isn't armor. Faith isn't being naive. Faith is simply a protest against despair itself. The truth is, both sides have a point, believers and non-believers. Doubt isn't necessarily a weakness. It can be seen as logical in some cases. Because if you can truly look at genocide, racism, child exploitation, poverty, addiction, and say that it's God's plan, you either one, have unshakable faith, or two, you're ignoring reality. For one person, that silence from God after a prayer is proof that he was never there to begin with. For another person, that same silence is a test to whether or not they can endure long enough. And this is why humanity is divided, not because one side believes or one side doesn't believe, but because we're all dealing with the same unbearable weight of whether or not to believe in our own different ways. If you reject belief, you accept that the universe is cold, indifferent, and random. Your strength has to come from within or from those around you. No safety net, no ultimate justice waiting on the other side. For some, that's liberating because it means they get to create their own meaning. But for others, it's crushing. If you choose belief, you accept the paradox that a higher power allows unthinkable evil, yet still offers love, justice, and hope. It requires faith that suffering has some purpose, even when it looks meaningless. For some, that's insane. For others, it's the only thing that makes the pain bearable. And whether or not you believe, here's the reality. As I sit here recording this video, and as you watch, wherever you are, there's someone out there screaming cries of help that'll never be heard or reach you or I. And in that same breath, there's someone else who just found a glimmer of hope to continue holding on to life by the thinnest thread. And neither their cries nor their prayers are guaranteed to reach you, I, or God. And that's the world we live in, a world filled with contradictions where good and evil coexist side by side. And both sides can use that very fact to prove their point on whether or not to believe. So maybe the question shouldn't believe, do you believe in a higher power or not? Maybe the question should be reworded as, which story helps you when you're in the place of darkness? Because belief doesn't prevent bombs from falling on innocent towns. Doubt doesn't put food in starving kids' bellies. And God, or the absence of him, doesn't change the fact that suffering still exists. But what you believe in will determine on how you carry that knowledge. Will you face it by yourself, armed only with your own strength? Or do you hold on to that fragile glimmer of hope waiting that someone out there is greater, redeeming those who decided to endure. And maybe faith isn't about having the answers. Maybe faith is finding the will to live only with questions. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.